Good afternoon. And welcome on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Cornwall Historical Society. I do hope that you created your own visual memory of our gorgeous New England fall on your way down here. It's a beautiful day, and I thank you for taking some time to spend with us. A warm welcome to those of you who have, for whom this may be your first visit to one of our programs, and thanks to those of you who have been participating in our exhibit and programs throughout this current season. While this is the last in our series of programs complementing our current exhibit, Cornwall and the Civil War, the exhibit itself will stay open through October on weekends. And if you have not had a chance to see that exhibit down at 7 Pine Street, I encourage you to go there and see the informative and moving account of how this corner of Connecticut participated in the bloodiest event in our country's history. Some logistics, and excuse the repetition. Please sign the guest book that's in the back so we can provide one of our sponsors, Connecticut Humanities, with the information they request at the end of the season. There's a sign-up sheet for those of you who would like to receive email notification of our activities. Thanks again to Matthew's 1812 House for providing the delicious goodies that you can enjoy after the program. And thanks to Bridget Lynch for the beautiful arrangement on the table. Now to the matter at hand. In an essay on the standards proposed by the Common Core, the current national educational curriculum criteria, the author proposed her own requirements for receiving a high school diploma. And I quote from her #1 requirement: write a letter. An actual letter that does not begin with "hey" and is written in handwriting on real paper. End quote. I ask you, when did you last receive a real letter? Not a thank you note or a personalized screed from a political candidate. Another question. When have you been moved beyond words to music in response to some event, personal or universal? This afternoon, we will experience an event, the Civil War and its era, in both words and music, thanks to the skills of two nationally and internationally known professionals. Rick Spencer is an historian, musician, and performer. He is currently presenting theme-based historic music programs after a career on the staff as the staff musician at Mystic Seaport. In his program today, one of the pieces he will perform, We Will Not Retreat Anymore, was sent to Cornwall resident Minor Rogers by Sergeant William Cogswell, who was, in fact, the first Native American in Connecticut to enlist during the Civil War. Providing the words is Cornwall Historical Society board member Richard Schlesinger, who will read from letters selected by our curator, Rachel Guest, from our own collection. These letters are from Cornwall soldiers to friends and families back home. Richard also, in addition to being a board member, happens to be an award-winning correspondent for 48 Hours and a contributor to CBS News programs. Contrary to the publicity for this event, Richard is now the recipient of 11 annual awards for his work, the most recent having been awarded after we went to press. To conclude the readings and music, Ernie Barker, and Company F will end our event with their own special contribution. And now to words and lyrics.
I feel a little bit like an air traffic controller. Bear with me. And I would urge you to pay attention closely to these words, which are really masterful. They're quiet little begin with a letter from Private Josiah Corbin to his wife and children. Corbin was a Cornwall farmer who enlisted in 1862 when he was 41 years old. This is from camp near Fort Worth, Virginia, on February 12, 1862. Dearest of Earth, I received yours of the 6th today and wonder why it should be so long on its way here. I sent one this morning that I had written by having 2 or 3 spells at it before I finished it. They keep us very busy nowadays, so I cannot often get a chance to write, but a short time at once, without writing nights, and then I generally have to buy a candle to see by if I have a chance to see well enough to write. We use sperm candles here. They cost 5 cents apiece. One will last nearly 2 evenings if we don't sit up long after roll call, which is 8:30. The Lord only knows what trials we may be called to pass through before peace will be declared and the rebels be made to give up their rebellion. The governor of Connecticut, Buckingham, was here yesterday. He came onto the ground where we were on battalion drill. In a short time after, he came onto the parade ground. We were ordered to form a square, and he and those that were with him, besides all our commissioned officers, went inside the square. The lieutenant colonel introduced them, as well as all the rest of us, to the chief magistrate, the governor of Connecticut, William A. Buckingham, and told them they could speak to him, any of them that wished to. The captains and lieutenants all went up and shook hands with him, and some of them talked with him a few minutes. Then he took off his hat and made a short speech to us. He spoke with a great deal of feeling in our behalf and told us how much he thought of us, as well as all the rest of the troops from our state, and said that he would be glad to shake hands with every one of us. He praised us for our patriotism in leaving our homes and friends to come down here to fight for our country, and said if we never went to the field of battle, we were doing as much good as if we did. He said it was better to sacrifice a whole generation than to have our government destroyed. He's a plain-looking man, and I don't think it makes him feel lifted up any by being governor. He did not talk as if he had any idea of the North ever giving up the contest until the rebels are conquered and made to return to the Union. It brought tears to my eyes to hear him speak of the loved ones at home. It touches my feelings very sensibly to hear anything that relates to my loved ones at home, for they are nearer my heart than any other earthly object. May God grant that I may meet them and all the rest of my friends once more in Cornwall and also in heaven at last. Yours with undying affection, J.D. Corbin.
On the subject of loved ones at home, this song was written by Connecticut-born songwriter Henry Clay Work in 1862, the same year that Josiah Corbin wrote that letter. Work would later go on to write Marching Through Georgia and Grandfather's Clock. When the daylight fades on the tented field and the campfire cheerfully burns, then the soldier's thought like a carrier dove to his own love home returns. Like a carrier dove, and gleams beyond the foam. So a light springs up in the soldier's heart, and he thinks of the girls at home. When the shadows dance on the canvas walls and the camp with melody rings, 'tis the good old song of the stripes and stars that the fireside circle sings. Of the stripes and stars, for love of which they roam. But the final song and the sweetest one is the song of the girls at home. Now the silver rays of a setting moon through the lofty sycamores creep, and the fires burn low and the sentries watch, or the armored host asleep. And the sentries watch till morning gilds the dawn, till the rattling drum shall the sleepers rouse,
battle of the Civil War. Sent from Washington, D.C., July 23rd, 1861, my dear sister. Our Army has suffered one of the most terrible defeats on record, one of the most disgraceful. We have lost everything, even our honor. When I last wrote you, the Army had marched in high spirits, and everyone predicted a prosperous result, and some little success was obtained. But a panic seized the volunteers. They threw away everything they had and fled in terrible disorder. Whole regiments fled without giving a shot or getting near the enemy. Our artillery behaved bravely. They maintained their position till they lost so many men and horses that they were obliged to leave their guns. The loss of property was immense. It is hoped the loss of life was not great, but no reports are made yet. We are disorganized, and if the enemy had not suffered severely as we hope they have, they could have marched into Washington last night. I went to bed night before last believing that everything was going on well, and yesterday was ill in my room all day till 3 o'clock when I learned of the terrible disaster. I have no heart to write more. Your affectionate brother, J.S.
George Frederick Root was born in nearby Sheffield, Massachusetts. This is his song, Prisoner's Hope. In the prison cell I sit, thinking, mother dear, of you and our bright and happy home so far away. And the tears, they fill my eyes, spite of all that I can do, though I try to cheer my comrades and be gay. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching. Cheer up, comrades, they will come. And beneath the starry flag we shall breathe the air again of the free land in our own beloved war. In the battle front we stood when their fiercest charge they made, and they swept us off 100 men or more. But before we reached their lines we were beaten back dismayed, and we heard their cry of victory over and o'er. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching. Cheer up, comrades, they will come. And beneath the starry flag we shall breathe the air again of the free land in our own beloved home. So within the prison cell we are waiting for the day that shall come to open wide the iron door. And the hollow eye grows bright and the poor heart almost gay as we think of seeing home and friends once more. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching. Cheer up, comrades, they will come. And beneath the starry flag we shall breathe the air again of the free land in our own beloved home. And beneath the starry flag we shall breathe the air again of the free land in our own beloved home.
I have it so easy, all I have to do is read. I'm so glad that I have it easy. Our next letter was, again, written by Josiah Corbin, the guy who wrote the first book. Well, this time he is recovering in a military hospital after being released from a Confederate prison camp. Sent from Annapolis Junction, December 10th, 1864. Dear wife and children, I thought I would write a few lines again this morning and send, so you need not be looking in vain for news from me. I can't tell much, but I suppose just seeing a few lines I have written will be better than nothing. The doctors, one of them, came around yesterday to get the names of the paroled prisoners, also when and where they were captured, when and where released, so they could make arrangements to pay them all their back pay and also their ration money while they were prisoners. They're going to pay us up pretty soon and then give us 30 days furlough to go home. That is an order from the War Department, and I suppose I can have another furlough if I want it. We all have to wear hospital shirts. I wear a woolen one under the cotton one that they furnish. They brought in some drawers, but they were so short and small I could not wear them. Well, most of them were just so, but I shall get along if they will let me wear my own. My boils have gotten pretty much done running, but I am so sore yet I can't sit with much comfort, and my scurvy comes out as bad as ever yet. How long it will continue so, I don't know, but guess the way I'm doctoring for it will prove a remedy after a while. I have only just begun on my butter and my sausage. I shall have to let someone help me eat it, I guess, for they don't allow me to have much meat, and I intend to be as careful as possible about eating such things as will hinder me about getting rid of my scurvy. I suppose that will be one thing that will worry you, for fear that I will be imprudent about eating, but you need not worry, for I don't mean to. I begin to feel as if I could not wait much longer to get a letter from home. Suppose I might have one waiting at the parole camp. Hope they will send it here shortly. Keep up good courage and trust in God for protection, and He will sustain you through every trial. Yours, the same as ever, with much love to all, Josiah B. Cornwall.
This song came from the ranks of the soldiers themselves. We do not know who the writer, who the author of this song is, and complains, as Corbin was complaining a little bit about the food, inequality in the ranks. Oh, whiskey is the monster that ruins great and small, but in old Kirby's army, headquarters gets it all. They drink it when it's plenty, although they think it's hard. But if a private touches it, they'll put him under guard. Oh, how do you like the army? The brass-mounted army, the highfalutin army, where eagle buttons rule. Our army is more richer than when the war begun. Furnishes 3 tables, and then they set but one. The first is richly laden of chicken, goose, and duck. The next is pork and mutton. The third is poor old buck. Oh, how do you like the army? The brass-mounted army, the highfalutin army, where eagle buttons rule. Our generals eat the poultry, they get it very cheap. Our colonels and our captains devours the hogs and sheep. Our soldiers get so hungry they're bound to press a pig. At the biggest stamp in Dixie, they're sure to have a pig. Oh, how do you like the army? The brass-mounted army, the highfalutin army, where eagle buttons rule. On every big plantation or a big holder's yard, just to save his property, our generals place a guard. And now my song is ended, it's beautiful and true. The poor men and the widows must have a line or two, for there no guard is stationed, their fences often burned, their property molested, as long ago we learned. Oh, how do you like the army? The brass-mounted army, the highfalutin army, where eagle buttons rule. How do you like the army? The brass-mounted army, the highfalutin army, where eagle buttons rule.
When we started, I made a remark about eloquence born of horror. Pay attention to this next letter. Written by Mark Nickerson to his niece in 1910, describing his experiences at the Battle of Malvern Hill on July 1st, 1862. So decades have passed between the battle that he writes about and this letter. And listen to how crisp and horrible the memories are. Many of the men dropped on the ground and were soon fast asleep. Others were talking in low tones, telling their chums what to do or where to write in case they were killed. tore them up into small pieces and scattered them on the ground. No one should read those letters if I was killed. Good advice. As we lay there in the woods, the silence was oppressive. Not a leaf stirred on the trees, not a puff of air. The only sounds we could hear were the low, subdued tones of the men talking to each other. And off to the front in the woods, we could hear at a distance what sounded like the tramping of soldiers and giving of orders. It was the calm before the storm. As the ominous sounds in the woods on our front grew louder and seemed to be coming nearer, the men who were asleep were quietly awakened, and we were told to examine our guns. The Rebs had set out on this campaign to crush the Army of the Potomac, and we knew full well that they would not give it up without another bloody battle. So here we were, awaiting the attack. We had been able to get but little snatches of sleep for 7 days and nights. Most of that time we had been on the move. Our haversacks were empty, and we had been out of rations for 24 and 36 hours. We were a hollow-eyed, wild-looking set of men, and a dangerous set to tackle. Suddenly the storm broke in all its fury, like a thunder shower in summer when the wind gets into it and brings it up from the northwest, only 1,000 times more fearful than any thunder shower. At a given signal, battery after battery came out of their hiding place on a gallop, wheeled quickly into position, and limbered up for action. The infantry came out of their hiding places and quickly formed in line of battle. As we were marching by the flank to take our place in line of battle, I noticed running blackberries on the ground and stooped down several times to pick a blackberry as I was hungry and thirsty. The orderly sergeant spoke to me quite sharply and told me to mind what I was about. I told him I knew what I was about, and before the battle was over, had a chance to see that I knew what I was about. Before reaching our lines, the Rebs had to cross quite a large open field in range of our artillery, and when near to our lines, they would be lost to our sight for a short time as they crossed a lower stretch of ground. Then they would come into plain view again on a level with our line of battle. It seems terrible to think of now, the way those brave men were cut down by the fire of our artillery, to say nothing of the rifle fire from the infantry. But we just gloried in it then. Our fighting blood was up. They were after us, would kill us if they could. And the more we killed of them, the better the chance we stood for our own lives.
These words and music by Walter Kittredge, 1864. He was from New Hampshire. We're tenting tonight on the old campground. Give us a song to cheer our weary hearts, a song of hope and friends we love so dear. Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, wishing for the war to cease. Many are the hearts looking for the right to see the dawn of peace. Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground. We've been tenting tonight on the old campground, thinking of days gone by, of the loved ones at home who gave us the hand and the tear that said goodbye. Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, wishing for the war to cease. are tired of war on the old campground. Many are dead and gone. Of the brave and the true who left their homes, others been wounded along. Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, wishing for the war to cease. Many are the hearts looking for the light to see the dawn of peace. Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground. We've been fighting today on the old campground. Many are lying here. Some are dead and some are dying. Many are in tears. Many are the hearts who are weary tonight, wishing for the war to cease. Many are the hearts looking for the right to see the dawn of peace. Dying tonight, dying tonight, dying on the old campground. Tenting tonight, tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground.
Our next letter is from Corporal Joseph Payne to his cousin Samuel L. F. Gold. A fine name from Cornwall. I have a few of them. This is from camp near Alexandria, Virginia, December 13th, 1862. Dear Cousin Sam, I received your welcome letter yesterday the 12th and was happy to learn that you were well and thriving. I hope you will continue so, and I hope also that we shall meet again, both of us hale and hearty. I am very well now. I have had some cold, but it's now disappearing fast. I weighed 160 when I entered the U.S. service. I now weigh 183, a gain which isn't so slow, taking into consideration the diet furnished by Uncle Sam. But we, that is the 19th, ought to be thankful for the good fare we have had compared with other regiments. Since we've been here, we have had good, nice bread, good pork, occasionally potatoes and beef. But, right, occasionally potatoes and beef, and whatever that was. I should say, though, that the beef is old enough to speak for itself. In addition to this, we have simply tents, stoves, and plenty of good wood. Oh, and as long as we live here, we certainly cannot complain, but somehow this kind of life doesn't seem to satisfy. To be sure, it is perfectly safe here, but deeds of bravery and scars are an honor to a person. Therefore, I think I should like to be with Burnside, where things are stirring now. I expect success attend his efforts. You asked me my opinion of the removal of McClellan. I like the idea very much. He no doubt was, or is, a good general, but too slow for the present time and emergencies. Burnside, I believe, is the man for the times, quick to take advantage of any and all successes which he may achieve. We have good telegraphic news from Burnside tonight, but somehow the operators won't tell us what it is, only that it is good, with which we have to be satisfied for the present. The reason why I made the mistake in directing your letter was that I sent the letter to the captain to read, and he lost it, and I had to direct the letter from memory. That captain was Edward F. Gold, but that's okay. I'm sure that he was sorry for that. The captain is well and growing fat every day. Our company, those who you are acquainted, are all well, I believe some of them have been sick, but all have now pretty much recovered their health. I shall be very happy to receive your picture. I will send you another one soon after receiving it. Give my love to all of your folks. Write soon. I remain truly yours, Cousin Joe.
One of the great anthems for the Union side. This one composed by George F. Root, 1862. Yes, we'll rally around the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll rally from the hillside, we'll gather from the plain, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally around the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We are springing to the ball, 300,000 more, shouting the cry of freedom. We'll fill the vacant ranks of our warriors long before, shouting the cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again, shouting the cry of freedom. We will welcome to our numbers the loyal, true, and brave, shouting the cry of freedom. And although he may be poor, he will never be a slave, shouting the cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the cry of freedom. So we're singing to the call from the east and from the west, shouting the cry of freedom. And we'll hurl the rebel crew from the land we love the best, shouting the cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor and up with the star, while we rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the cry of freedom.
Never get tired of hearing that. Our last letter is from General Sedgwick's aide, Captain Richard Halstead, sent to Sedgwick's sister, Emily, from Camp near Berlin, Maryland, on July 17, 1863. My dear Miss Sedgwick, as you no doubt already know from newspapers, if not from letters, we have been for the past few weeks having a very active campaign, so far as marching is concerned at least. It does now and then occur that well-ordered marches has effectually beat an enemy as the most decisive battle could do, and something must be set down to the saving of life. There is not much doubt that some of our marching has been much to Mr. Lee's damage, but still, the Battle of Gettysburg had to be fought. No amount of marching of the forces we then had could have obviated the necessity for a fight like that one somewhere. It was a terrible fight. The losses show that. The common talk among the prisoners taken by us is that Lee lost at Gettysburg alone not less than 30,000 men. Our own loss is about 20,000 men. I wish I could give you an idea of the artillery fire. It was terrific. We at the 6th Corps headquarters were in a good position to judge of it. For singular as it may seem, almost the only spot along the whole line not under fire was that occupied by us. I cannot tell you anything of any consequence about the fight. Some of the newspaper accounts were very good. I saw so little of it that I cannot describe it. Our progress in pursuit of Lee was necessarily slow and cautious. Two such armies, having fought each other so often, having known each other so long and intimately, cannot very well afford to play at fast and loose. Now, as I write, a staff officer from headquarters comes to bring information which looks to an immediate move, today, if possible. The officer does not know the direction in which we go, but I wish that one small portion of the 6th Corps might move in the direction of and have for its ultimate destination the region known as Cornwall Hollow. Very sincerely yours, R.F. Halstead.
The song was referenced earlier on when Barbara spoke of it. The song was sent, the music to the song was sent to Cornwall's Minor Rogers in 1862 by his friend Sergeant William Cogswell, who was serving with the 19th Connecticut Volunteer Infantry at the time. I did some research on the song, and it turns out to have not been particularly popular. I think the most important thing about this song is its significant connections to Cornwall. The sheet music resides with the Cornwall Historical Society today, and it may very well be that this is the first time that this song has been heard in 150 years. The fortunes of war often change, boys, and trifles will oft turn the scale. Though heavy the blows that we strike, boys, we find that the truest may fail. But where is the heart to despair, boys? Who shall advise to turn back? We'll just add a little more steam, boys, and push our cause over the track. Oh, we will not retreat anymore, boys. We will not retreat anymore. We've numbers to match the traitors we catch. We will not retreat anymore. We've battled this long for the right, boys, regardless of station or goal. We've suffered from hunger and thirst, boys, and tramped through the heat and the cold. But let our brave leaders once call, boys, we'll rush to the fray as before. We're ready to fight or to die, boys, but not to retreat anymore. Ooh, we will not retreat anymore, boys, we will not retreat anymore. We've numbers to catch the traitors we match, we will not retreat anymore.
Sleep well, my brothers. Know the line has held, your job is done. Rest easy, sleep well. Others have taken up where you fell. The line has held. Peace, peace, and farewell.
Many thanks to all of our participants in today's program. It seems to me that the words, for all the humor, the courage, the horror they contain, stand as an eloquent cry for continuing and continuous efforts toward peace in our time. Thank you.